Hi everybody, my name is Jay Huggins and I'm with Pioneer Coaches Education. I'm a physical therapist, a certified strength and conditioning coach, and a former college baseball player. And here we are today in part one of our injury prevention program series, and we're talking about the Yokohama-9. So the Yokohama-9 is a group of stretching and strengthening exercises that were used in a study in Japan. So there's a lot of injury prevention programs out there, but not a lot of them have research backed by it. And this program does have some research backed by it to show that it is effective. And so it was a really well done study, and they took 16 teams. They put 8 in each group, one the control group, and then one they had a group that performed these 9 stretching and 9 strengthening exercises. And they found that even with just one time a week, that's who they included for players who actually did the program at least one time a week, they included in the intervention group. And players who did this at least one time per week saw about a 50% reduction in arm injuries compared to the control group, which is great. They also did another study where they reduced the exercises a little bit to hopefully increase the compliance, and which it did increase the compliance, so people did it more regularly and they did more of the exercises during it. In that study, they also found about a 50% reduction in arm injuries compared to the control group. They also found an increase in pitching speed. So it not only helped reduce injuries, but it also helped for performance. So what can we learn from this? Well, first off, the study was performed in 8 to 11-year-olds. So I'm not sure we can extrapolate this to everybody, that every major league team should be doing the Yokohama-9. We can't necessarily say that. Maybe it would be really helpful. Maybe it's not really helpful. We don't know. But for 8 to 11-year-olds, if you're a coach of an 8 to 11-year-old team, it does seem to be a really effective program, and you don't need to be, an exercise specialist or a physical therapist or kinesiologist or anything like that to do these exercises. They're relatively simple exercises. And later, if you stick around, I'm going to show all the exercises to you, and so you can very easily follow along with them, teach them to your team if that's what you're hoping to do. So I'd like to get into a little bit more nuance in terms of the Yokohama-9 as well too. One thing that we should consider with all of this is that just because this program was helpful does not necessarily mean every exercise in this program was helpful too. So, we saw the program was helpful, but as you can see, for certain exercises, they're kind of doing the same thing. Would we be able to cut those exercises and get the same results? Theoretically, yes, but nobody's studied it to date. So if we're going to keep it easy, if we're going to keep it simple, I'd recommend that you just keep all of these exercises together and not cut yet. The great thing about this too, it's not just an arm prevention program, or it's not just an arm warm-up, it is a full body warm-up program. So you can just use this program to do as a warm-up or even as a cool down as well for your teams. So thanks for watching. Follow along. Follow my page for more information and more videos of the like. Hope you enjoyed. So the first exercise we have here is the brachial muscle massage. And so you just take your left hand or your non-throwing hand and pinch your bicep muscle, and you're just going to move your arm up and down here. Just trying to get a little bit of looseness in that bicep muscle. This next exercise is the pronator muscle stretch. So you take your non-throwing hand, grab your throwing hand thumb, and give it a pull so you've got the palm facing upwards. You can hold that for 10 seconds. So here we've got our tricep muscle stretch. Pretty simple stretch that I'm sure most people have seen in gym class. Just taking your elbow, pulling it over your head, and holding there. Another standard one here, one you've probably seen in gym class, just pulling that arm across the body, stretching into the shoulder muscles there. So this is the sleeper stretch. You're laying on your side, pushing that hand down. I'm moving back and forth. The paper suggests that you hold for 10 seconds on the throwing side. This exercise is called the mobilization of the lower thorax. So you're laying on your back, letting your knees fall side to side. Again, I'm moving. The paper suggests that you hold for 10 seconds on each side. This is called the trunk rotation stretch. So you're just reaching back, laying on the floor, and reaching back there. Should feel a good stretch in your upper back. Make sure the shoulder blade of the side on the ground stays on the ground. Otherwise, you're stretching a little bit further down the body. This is the posterior hip stretch. So a little harder to see what I'm doing here. But at the start, I'm leaning over to the left side and then leaning back. So you should feel a stretch kind of in the back of your glute area there. And we do that on each side. And lastly, for the stretching exercises, we've got our hip flexor stretch. So I'm in half kneeling here and I'm leaning forward, pushing through my glutes. And so I should feel a good stretch in the front of my thigh on this one. So now we're on to our strengthening exercises. This one's called the supraspinatus exercise. So the athlete takes his glove, lifts his arm up and down 20 times on the throwing side. I'm at about a 45-degree angle here. I'm just going up to shoulder height. This is called the subscapularis exercise. So laying on your back, athlete takes the glove again and rotating the arm up and down as you see me doing there. This is called the teres minor exercise. For this one, you're laying on your stomach, shoulder at about 90 degrees and elbow bent at 90 degrees, and the athlete lifts their glove up and down off the ground. For this exercise, it's important to make sure that the athlete's keeping their elbow on the ground as they're doing it. This is called the trap exercise, laying on your stomach in a Y, lifting up and down 20 times on the dominant side. Okay, and here we've got our push-ups plus, so a little bit harder to see what I'm doing here. I'm in a plank position and I'm letting my body fall, and as I let my body fall, I'm letting my shoulder blades come as close as they can together. And then using my elbows, I'm pushing out and I'm trying to push my shoulders as far away as possible here. This is called the upper back rounding exercise. So you're on all fours, arching and rounding your back. Try to get this as much from your upper back as possible. We're only doing this one 10 times. This is the trunk rotation exercise. So same position as last time and just spinning about on each side 10 times. Here we've got our lateral slide exercise. So you're standing on one leg, reaching out to the side 10 times on each side. Make sure to keep your shoulders, hips, and knees all stacked over each other. Lots of times kids are wanting to go side to side with their shoulders and their trunk doing this. Last but not least, we've got our elbow to knee exercise. So I'm in a little split stance there, like you're landing when you're pitching, and I'm reaching my opposite. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in learning more about injury prevention in baseball players, take my course, Strikeout Injuries, a baseball coach's guide to injury prevention.